Hello, friends. Welcome back for another episode of HR for the Heart. I've had many people ask me this question. What's different about HR for the Heart? There's so many podcasts already talking about relationship. And I take my time to explain to them that my vision for this podcast is not just another knowledge dump or experience sharing on dating. It's more about my vision is about bringing the systems and strategies of the HR world in managing people relationships into the emotional world of dating and relationship building. And ultimately, my aim is to help people see that relationship is, or dating, and by extension, marriage, is a strategic decision making. It's a strategic decision and not so much an emotional one, the way we've always seen it. And so that's my vision for bringing this, letting people know that you can structure your relationship. You can put systems, you can put processes in place to make sure that you're arriving at your desired aim or your desired goal for that relationship instead of doing it randomly. Well, welcome again. It's so glad to have you here. So, if you've been following us, if you've been following the videos that we've been putting out, we've already set up our talent acquisition strategy. We already have our job description nicely laid out. We have defined our non-negotiables and our nice to haves. We have put up our job posting, and so we have now attracted resumes that we would now start to run through that interview process. Now, usually the first thing you do is to screen the resume if you don't have it automatically done. And what does that mean? It just means you check for the basic. So the basic must-haves, you want to make sure that the resume, the resume you have meets those criteria. So let me use a very general one. Do you have legal rights to work in the country where you're applying from? If the answer is a no, there's really no need to continue to move that person through the process. So you've done that initial screening, and now you have your final filter that you're going to move through the interview process. So now, what is the purpose of interviewing? After all, you've seen the resume, you know that they have some experience, you know that they meet the basic requirements for that job. But the purpose of interviewing is to uncover more, to dig deeper, to get to know the person beyond the details of the experience that they have listed on their resume. So that's what interviewing is about. Now, if we look at that in the dating world, is what's supposed to happen when you meet up with this person that you kind of like them, they kind of align with your values, your principles. They sound like someone you want to spend time, you want to invest time in getting to know more. And so interviews would be like the things you do when you go on a date, the conversations you have when you're on a call with this person, or when you meet up somewhere. And so it's important that this time is not wasted on frivolities. I'm not too sure what kind of conversations go on when people go to date. But I've seen some folks and some couples in restaurants, and half of the time they're on their phone, or they're talking random things. I'm not saying don't get to know people on a broader level, but let your conversation have aim. Back to the world of HR. One thing I always try to do as an HR leader is to train my people managers on how to actually interview. Yes, you're talking to someone, but you're looking for specific details about this person that would help the decision making, whether to bring them on board or not. So as much as the conversation can go swing from one end to the other, it's still aimed, it's still focused, and it's within the required guidelines. Of course, there's some things you cannot ask someone at an interview, but you are asking questions that have usually been predetermined, so that you are getting some answers that you need to be able to make a good decision of whether to hire or not to hire. It's the same thing when you're having conversations with someone that you're dating or you're just friends with and you're just looking to explore more about this person. Now, some of those questions are usually, I mean, if you've been interviewing, you know that there are some very basic ones. And I coach immigrant moms on how to get back into the workplace. And I always tell them it's important to practice. Practice answering interview questions. There are some very basic ones. For example, no matter the role you're looking to, they want to know that you can communicate. They want to know that you can make some to a certain degree some decisions. They want to know that you can manage conflicting situations. You can de-escalate tense situations. You can work with people. You can learn. Those are most of the questions are couched around that. Another thing with interviewing is what we call the usual kind of questions. Of course, they are open questions. It's not going to be questions where it's a yes, no, yes, no. I mean, imagine if I'm interviewing someone and I'm asking them questions and I'm getting a yes, a no. That interview is over already. I won't exhaust the full time that I allocated for it because then it's a waste of time. I'm not going to get anything, from that. So when you're having conversations with people, and you can train yourself to have conversations. A way to train yourself to have conversations is to network more. Just go out, meet people, start conversations, walk up to them, say something nice to them, compliment them, and ask them questions. You will be surprised at how much people like to talk about themselves if you have the right prompts for them, of course. So back to interviews. There are things we call behavioral questions. What does this mean? There are questions that help you. They allow the interviewee to speak a lot, to give you a story or share an experience where you can then make some deductions about their behavior and how they might, how that might show up if they were to come on board into your company. Okay. So it can be questions like, the usual framing is, tell me about yourself. I'm sure you have heard it before. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about a time where you managed a difficult employee. Tell me about a time where you had a disagreement with your boss. How did you manage it? Tell me about a time you built a process. Tell me about a time somebody disagreed with an idea you had, and how did you, resolve that? What they're looking for is key behavioral attributes that would help that person be successful on the job. It is the same way. It is the same thing. Again, always remember, dating, relationship is a strategic decision. It's not about feelings or, emotions. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And so let's look at some examples. I would like to see in the comment section what is the weirdest question you have been asked on a date? So I want you to put it in the comment section. What's the weirdest out of the box, unexpected question you have been asked on a date? So, like I said, behavioral questions try to dig deep into, the person that you're trying to bring on board. So if I ask, for example, as an interviewer, if I ask someone, are you a good team player? Or are you good at teamwork? Of course, the answer is going to be a yes. But if I ask it in another way, say, tell me about a time that you were part of a team and the team seems to be misaligned on the vision or the objective that you're trying to get to. How did you manage? How did you manage the situation? What role did you play? Okay, so I know if you're dating someone, you cannot ask that, but it can sound something different. It can be, oh, I just got a call from my mom, and of course, we always disagree on this thing. No, how is your relationship with your mom? Are you in touch with them? Do you have a good relationship with do you have siblings? Do you keep in touch with them? Oh, I see you live in XYZ country. How has that been for you? I hear people are having, challenges with this and this there. How are you managing that? That's how conversations are supposed to be. And just a point of note, in case you're not very clear yet, conversations happen with words. their vocabulary, their words. You have conversations with words. When you're dating someone, you need to speak, you need to ask, you need to listen. You need to identify patterns. I mean, you're not psychoanalyzing them, but you're trying to get some pointers that would help you make a solid decision down the line. Okay. Of course, you don't want to, depending on the stage that you're in, you're not going to be asking the heavy duty questions on the first date. For example, at an interview session, there's usually the first level interview where you're just perhaps talking with the recruiter. They would ask you some questions to say, okay, is this person, can I move this person forward to the next stage of the interview? If you move forward to the next stage, there will be more, perhaps more technical questions or more deeper questions that you then need to answer. So it's the same way, but the skills that you need in this avenue or at this stage of the process is questioning skills. Know how to ask the right question. Listening skills. Listen. Don't just listen for the things you want to hear. Listen for things that, that may not sound so right, so that you're able to put it in perspective. Also, listen for what is not being said. Listen for what is not being said. For example, you're having a conversation with someone and they said, oh, I just got out of a relationship. Oh, if you don't mind, if you're okay, can you tell me what happened? And then they start with, the whole story. And so everyone that I date, they're just ridiculous people nowadays. Men are this, men are that, or every woman is this, every woman is that. I mean, they're they're giving you insights, and it's up to you to know whether that's what you want to align up. Because those things show when you ask some questions, it shows how they regulate emotionally, how they take accountability, how they learn their mindset for growth and learning, how they take disappointments. Those are the things you want to uncover early so that you know, is this the journey I want to go on? And I know people say things like, oh, there's just so much you can know when you're dating someone until you marry them. I beg to differ. At least I beg to differ on the things that matter, on the fundamentals. Except you just want to be blind. The truth is, people show their true colors. They show it in nuggets. They show it in frames. They may not show it in the full picture, but they show it in nuggets and frames. And if you're conscious and looking out for the right pointers, you would see it. You would see it. For example, there's someone you're looking to date someone and eventually marry them, but there's some topics that are off limits. Then that's even if that's not red, at least that's a brown flag. You should definitely be looking into that. Or there's someone that says, I don't like trouble. I don't like trouble. And they just walk away. No, you might think that's indicating someone that is peaceful. No, that's indicating someone that avoids conflict, and conflict is natural to life. That indicates someone that it's showing you someone that has bad communication, meaning that they cannot express a disagreement in an agreeable way to gain alignment with somebody else. So patterns always show, and there's no better way to know how someone would behave than asking them how they have behaved, because past behavior, is a good predictor of future behavior. So ask questions around conflict, around communication, and you can ask questions by you sharing first. If I share a difficult incident at work and this person chimes in and say, oh, that's true, I had a situation like that as well, and this is what I did. Oh, they go, really? Oh, I didn't know. I could have used that. I could have used that too. But now I've learned, ask those kind of questions. Dig deeper so that by the time you commit to a serious relationship with this person, you already have your ducks in a row and they are looking like, okay, this is heading in the right direction. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. There is no point running fast in the wrong direction. You will still have to come back and start again. So this is where we're going to end today's episode. There is more on interview that I'm going to share on the next episode. But again, remember, I want to see in the comment section, what's the weirdest question you have been asked on a date? So until next time, remember, please like, please share, Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.